This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Thursday, February 27th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay, and I'm Tori. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Feeling good. We have some big news to get to you because fears over the coronavirus continue to grow. The president held a press conference to reassure Americans that his administration has the epidemic under control. Let's take a look.
I don't think it's inevitable. It probably will. It possibly will. It could be at a very small level or it could be at a larger level. Whatever happens, we're totally prepared. We have the best people in the world. I'm going to be announcing exactly right now that I'm going to be putting our Vice President, Mike Pence, in charge.
Exactly, right now. Some are questioning why he put VP Pence in charge of this outbreak, given his slow response to the outbreak of HIV in Indiana in 2015 while he was governor of that state. Meantime, the CDC announced that for the first time, this is important, a patient being treated at UC Davis in California has tested positive for the virus, but with no known apparent reason for getting it, meaning the patient had not traveled from China, nor were they exposed to anyone known to be infected. So this is being considered the first possible case. We're going to call it, quote, community transmission is what they're saying here. Really quick, we have a lot to show you with this. I just want to hit you very quickly on why I think Pence signals to the world it's not a good decision. And I want to ask Lindsay if you think it's a good decision. Pence is not a scientist nor a man of science, doesn't believe in climate change, has denied the theory of evolution. In 2000, he put an op-ed out that says smoking doesn't kill. In 2000. And finally, when he had that epidemic in Indiana, he refused to do a needle exchange between drug users, which was causing the epidemic. That signals to me, to the world, you're not taking this at all seriously.
Well, we're already seeing a lot of progress. Earlier this week, the president submitted a funding proposal to Congress, and Pelosi just a few minutes ago and Chuck Schumer had a conference and said that they're almost at a bipartisan agreement. So I think the vice president being over it or overseeing it is really small things when you come to the big picture that Congress is already working on it. We're trying to get it funded so that we have a vaccine before this becomes a big issue in the states.
Look, he might do
so I wouldn't cause people into panic saying we're not going to.
He might do a great job, Lindsay, and I think that's fantastic, but his record doesn't show me that I feel comfortable with him being in charge of this for the entire country.
So what's happening right now shows us that we're on a good path to getting a vaccine and getting it funded.
I just want to get this clear with you, Tori. So you're saying, do you think that there's some sort of lobbying or like some sort of money involved when it comes to him to come out and say stuff like that?
You put the VP in positions you don't want to deal with, and I think this particular VP is someone that isn't into science.
The thing that bothers me, Tori, is that he doesn't know that he's not qualified to do this, and I don't think anybody does, because the world of science and the internet has completely been blurred now. There are at-home moms with more followers about pro or anti-vaccines, and these people know nothing, and that's not disrespectful. I have a degree in biology. I studied in a medical lab for 2 years. I understand what research takes. I understand how slow and how arduous and how boring it is. It's not just something that you read on the internet. People dedicate their lives to studying science, so we don't have polio anymore and all these kinds of things.
I think it's a common goal that we all want to stay healthy, right? Democrats, Republicans all have kids.
But I don't want anybody that is not well versed in this area to be speaking.
So what would you guys prefer? Us do nothing?
Have a scientist be in charge, a doctor.
Yes,
be the NIH
that's all I want. I don't care who that doctor is.
I would just prefer progress and that we get it funded and get the money inside of those doctors.
But then why say to the CDC that says it's inevitable that the disease will come here, that it's not inevitable the next day? Why go against your own
the
CDC?
World Health Organization says it's like the flu and that everybody's over exaggerating the the amount of this crisis.
But going against
there's two different organizations saying two different things. And so I think that some people are trying to tamper it down and some people are trying to cause pandemonium.
I agree with that.
I think it's the wrong guy for the job. But you guys are writing in like mad, so we'll get to your comments in the break. More and more Americans, switching gears here, are obese. According to new numbers from the CDC, 4 in 10 Americans now qualify as obese. Almost 1 in 10 is severely obese. Those numbers are up from the last survey, meaning America keeps getting bigger. The age group most affected are adults 40 to 59, and the rates are the highest in Black adults who, let's be honest, live sometimes in desert, what do they call it? Food deserts, where there isn't anything healthy that's affordable within miles, right?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think that's why Whole Foods now in NPR, in yoga, all those kinds of things are seen as things of the elite. And I think that's when we talk about race, especially to Americans, all Americans, especially ones that are living at or below poverty level, they don't want to hear it. They usually know that, hey, buying organic grapes is better than buying a huge bag of Doritos. But guess what? As somebody that was a broke comedian for 2 or 3 years, that lived on $5 Subway footlongs and lived on those $5 carry-out pizzas at Little Caesars.
Yeah.
I knew it was bad for me, but I was hungry. So we need to really start talking about like not only making healthy food decisions, but making it affordable and a possibility for people.
Check this out, Brent, real quick. This is what they're serving at Dunkin' Donuts really quick. It's called Bag O' Bacon, and it's just bacon.
That looks good.
In a bag.
But there's too much. I feel as though this is something that we're never going to eradicate because there's too much money involved. Like you're telling Dunkin' Donuts, hey, can you make some organic bag of bacon or something? Like, you know,
they have a plant-based burger.
McDonald's and all. There's too much money involved. It's a personal problem. It's on you. Get your butt up and go work out and go do the things to be healthy.
I feel like maybe I'm ignorant on this. I just feel like a lot of fast food places have moved forward and moved the needle forward on putting calories up there and offering salads and different sides instead of unhealthy thing. We got done away with the supersize. So I just thought that we were moving towards healthier. So to see these numbers, I was kind of blindsided. But out to Al's point, maybe I'm just not accounting for people that can't afford to do other things.
And also the numbers, I don't know. I mean, I'm technically obese by my watch. I mean, I worked out an hour and a half today.
You look great.
I could run for an hour, but it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Our RIP producer, Michael Dean, is
and
obese. He's got a six-pack.
I'm pushing obesity.
Well, a woman that's 5'4", I read that to be obese is 174 pounds approximately, and a guy that's 5'9" is 203 pounds.
Oh, yeah, I'm way over that. Yeah.
So just, if Michael Dean is obese, we're all done for.
That's it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, bye. Everyone is talking about Taylor Swift's new video. She undergoes a complete gender transformation for The Man. This is my favorite song, and I'm a Swiftie, so I'm going to talk. Which she wrote and directed her first debut. Let's take a look. The way that was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson voicing Taylor's man at the end. He's a big fan of Taylor Swift, if you didn't know that. The singer literally becomes a man to highlight the double standards between men and women. Look at that. There she is behaving badly, man spreading on the subway, losing her cool at a tennis match. The umpire, by the way, is her father. And being the world's greatest dad, being praised just for doing the same things that moms do every single day. I love this video. She's so interesting. My favorite part is when she compares her line of boyfriends to Leo in Saint-Tropez, because Leo has a line of girls and no one gives him anything about it, and she gets trashed for it.
Well, I want to hear.
Wait,
let's go in on this. The part where she's like, do you want me to be sexy or whatever? Remember when Jason Momoa did the little Super Bowl commercial and people were mad because he wasn't sexy enough? You think men don't get it where men don't get flack when women want us to be sexy and stuff as well?
Are you trying to tell me?
Because women go on their little brunch dates and they're like, oh, look at that hunk over there.
Are you trying to inform me?
Girl, what's my weakness, man?
Okay.
Like salt and pepper. Like, come on.
Can I finish? It's a great song.
Okay.
I do want to tell you this. Are you trying to really tell me there isn't a double standard in the way that men and women are treated?
Not really.
Because she would seem like a B word as opposed to someone who's a
We're
player.
eye candy as well, Tori. Like women look at men the same way men look at women.
I disagree with you. All right, let us know if you agree with me, because I'm right, or Brandon.
Don't get us sued.
DBL is live and coming up. A young couple was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they were murdered by a Mexican drug cartel. So why are the killers going free? That's in today's True Crime Chronicles. And you, the viewer, you're our fifth host. The debate over gender identity could soon hit consumers. So a new bill would require big box stores to have gender-neutral floor space. We're sharing your comments coming up next. So we're having some major discussions about historical contextual sexism, and can a man say, "Oh, poor me, I'm eye candy," after years and years of public harassment from all these times, including the people of power, abusing that right in front of our face?
I understand that part, and I'm not trying to make a reference to that. I'm just saying, like, when women think of Thor or Jason Momoa or
You're
one of
naming
those guys,
good-looking guys. Yeah, they're
I
beefcakes.
understand that, but
think
they
about
look at it
politics,
like that.
Naomi just wrote.
See, I wasn't saying on that. I'm just talking about the whole part where she was like, "Oh, do you want me to be sexier and all that?" Like, men and women, they both play too sexy.
But you're saying it like this when it's generally like this. Like, a woman has to look particularly good in politics, and Bernie Sanders can be the front runner. If a woman came out looking like Bernie Sanders, it would be talked about constantly.
Oh, in disarray?
Disarray, all old, not dying in the
Well, that's
hair.
why yesterday
it's
when
in
they said
every facet.
when we talked about what a girl, or a couple days ago, what somebody wears to a goodbye party, I said I'm not gonna come at Lizzo. She's the only person in the space, right?
There's
so
one.
So there's only one woman on the stage at the
That's
debate,
heavy.
right? So it's kind of like, let's listen to what she has to say. There's never women on that stage.
Right.
Now there's no people of color. There were, you know what I mean? So let's give them an extra ear.
But if you are
they're
going to
never on
consider
the stage.
females and women and gender bias is considered a protected class for a reason, because there's been such a history of it. Men are not a protected class. Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and a new California bill might lead some parents to have a meltdown when shopping for their kids. If passed, some retailers could face a $1,000 fine if they don't combine clothing and toys traditionally separated by gender. Some parents say, "Yo, this is an inconvenience," and argue that you can always buy whatever you want. So DBL Nation, should children's retail spaces be gender neutral? Lindsay, hit it.
Okay, Riley from Twitter says, this law would be the first step in affirming many children who experience shame when they're out shopping with their families. I understand that. I just think that there's a lot going on in the stores already. So for me, I get flustered in big box stores. So to have everything in one space, to me, seems chaotic. If the store wants to do that, fine. But I think making it a law is a bit much.
Yeah. Ashley from Facebook says, this is getting more and more ridiculous. Our country is too politically correct. I understand what they're doing, Ashley, but I'm with you. I don't agree with this, because I feel as though, why not make it why not let the stores decide? Why does the government have to get involved with this? It's like you're forcing something on the people. So I can see why there's a lot of backlash.
All right. Tina from Facebook says, although I'm not against the idea, the kids that will benefit from this are the minority. They will face other challenges in society, like using a restroom or playing on a sports team. I think that's exactly why we're talking about it. Usually when we're discussing things that need to be made into law, it's because a minority is being put upon or not being treated fairly. That's why we always have the same conversation, whether it's gender neutral clothing or it's does a Christian bake shop have to make a cake for a gay couple. So the reason we have to put these things in the law is that people will not do them unless they're at the barrel of a proverbial gun. So that's why we do these things, because people don't know how to act.
Good word, proverbial.
Thank you.
This is the second day in a row. Al's been
Very
using
impressive.
quite
Proverbial
vocabulary.
Are we playing Scrabble later or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a
It was
word.
a big word. You want some change for that $5 word? Okay. Sarah from Facebook says, thank you. As a young girl, I would have hated this. So you know me. I'm a big feminist and I believe in gender equality, but even this to me is too far. Let the manufacturers just make gender neutral clothing. Let the store decide. There is no reason to legislate this at all. This has got to come from the corporations and not from the government. Coming up on DBL, a young couple dies at the hands of a Mexican drug cartel. So why are the culprits being set free? You won't believe the shocking turn of events in today's True Crime Chronicles.
It's only
I never met somebody who thinks they're so.
We're just talking about how Lindsay bullies me at work.
Because I never met somebody who thinks that they are so brilliant, and it's fine to think that, but he's the most confident man that I know.
But
really
you have to
appreciate
be
it.
in this business.
He's like, he walks around like, I'm the Muhammad Ali of this culture athlete thing.
You're not a fan of the cultured athlete hashtag?
Hey, Travis, Will, last night,
More than sports.
everyone watching in Buffalo, last night at the Colorado Avalanche game, a fan for DBL came up to me, took pictures.
Brandon is officially the most famous person on the show.
Call 1-800-505-8619 or go to carshield.com to cover today.
Welcome back to DBL. A pregnant mother and her boyfriends were mistakenly murdered by members of a dangerous drug cartel. One of the men charged could be back on the streets this year, but how is that possible? Well, we have an update in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Lenoshka Torres and Luis Campos were two young teens in love. They were living in Dallas, Texas, getting ready to become new parents.
My sister was a good girl. She was about to be a mom.
It was January 6th, 2007. The couple drove to Oak Cliff to pick up Luis's car at a mechanic's home. They never made it back home that night.
She did not deserve this.
When Lenoshka and Luis showed up for their car, they were kidnapped, tortured, and beaten for days.
Did she plead for her baby's life?
It was a case of mistaken identity. 3 members of a dangerous Mexican drug cartel mistook Lenoshka and Luis as a couple who had stolen cash and drugs from the cartel's lead hitman, Nicolas Menores. Nearly a month later, police found Luis, Lenoshka, and her 5-month-old baby's bodies dumped off a bridge.
My first granddaughter, I never meet. I just meet her for the sonogram picture.
Dallas detectives botched the investigation and evidence in this case, allowing 2 of the men to take plea deals. Frank Estrella, who dumped the bodies, was let out on parole in 2017 after only serving 5 years behind bars.
It's just kind of crazy that he can keep on with his life.
And now, the main hitman, Nicolas Menores, who was sentenced to 15 years, could be released as early as this year.
Doesn't make sense in my head that they can say, oh yeah, let's make a deal with you, but you didn't do a deal with us.
Jorge Guzman Banda is the only one serving a life sentence. As for the others, the Torres family struggles to think these men will be back on the streets soon because of a botched investigation.
It is not fair. It's not fair.
Earlier, Al, Lindsay, and I spoke with a reporter who's been covering this case for over a decade. Take a look. We're joined by senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez from WFAA in Dallas, Texas. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. Detectives admit they botched parts of the investigation. I want to know exactly when went wrong, and did they ever take responsibility, because this makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, the detectives never took responsibility. The DA's office, though, obviously knew there was something wrong when they went to go look at the interrogation tapes. And my sources say, they never really said, but my sources say that there was coercion and there was also issues with how the Miranda rights were read, or not read, actually. And so what is really galling is that the main guy, the guy that was one of the most violent cartel members, he only gets 15 years. They had to plea bargain. The family didn't even realize that there was a plea bargain until they got to court, and then they realized then that he was going to get a 15-year sentence and they weren't going to get to go to trial. And he's the main guy that led the kidnapping, the torture of this pregnant girl and her boyfriend.
Oh my gosh.
He was the main cartel violent guy.
Wow.
You know, after you saying, I can't believe I even have to ask this question, but Nicholas is eligible for parole soon.
Ugh.
How likely is it that he'll be released this year, and how are we even talking about this? How is this even a possibility?
he'll get out because of that plea bargain. It was 15 years. Now, here's the only thing that the family has some comfort in. He is a Mexican national, so he will most likely be extradited back to Mexico. But he is known to come back and forth across the border. He was one of the main hit guys for the Mexican drug cartel called the Gulf Cartel. And so he is going to, at one point, he will get out. There is no doubt about it. He only got a 15-year sentence, and he is done with it, and he will be released.
Ugh, God. And Rebecca, it's now been more than 10 years. So how are the victims' families still fighting for justice?
You know, here's the sad part. They will never get the justice that they deserve because of how this case was handled from the very beginning, when DPD didn't take this case seriously, the Dallas Police Department, to the very end when these confessions were messed up and this case was messed up. So they'll never really get any kind of justice. The only justice they get is when we do stories like this and we let their legacies live on, of Luis and Lanoshka, this beautiful young couple that was getting ready to have a baby. It is important to note, though, that the two detectives that botched this case, they're no longer with the Dallas Police Department. They retired. DPD had to go back and look at all of their cases to make sure that there weren't any other issues, and so they're still in the process, actually, of looking through all of those cases that they had in the past as well. But
Wow.
this family, they'll never really get the justice they deserved.
Wow. Well, thank you for keeping the ball rolling on this, because at least someone is keeping that legacy, and we depend on people like you. Thank you, Rebecca. To read more on this case, please visit WFAA.com. You can also learn more in a new podcast episode out now. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Again, Rebecca, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Welcome, Beauty Blasters. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and today I want to give you guys a quick pro tip on how to use eye cream. Now, there's so many eye creams out there, but when you're doing your makeup and you want to make sure that your eye look is staying all day, sometimes it's great to use an eye prep cream. Now, with this guy, this is one of my personal favorites. It's the MAC Fast Response Eye Cream. It's caffeinated and it has hyaluronic acid to make sure that we're hydrating the eye, but also taking away any additional puff that might be chilling there. Whether you're working late, whether you're partying, doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, it's gonna take away all your little dirty sins, alrighty? Now, what we're going to do is just simply take a little bit, maybe like a pea-sized amount. Ooh, it's gonna come out. That's all you need there, guys. You don't want to overdo it around the eye, because if we put too much product there, it can actually create more texture and more weight from too much weight being on that thin little skin. And all you want to do is actually take your ring finger. We use this guy because it has the least amount of pressure for using against that gentle skin area, and tap right against your eye. Now, personally, there's a lot of different massage methods out there, but I like to take it from my inner corner and tap outwards. If you're getting a little risque out there, you can tap upwards right underneath the brow, and any additional can go right around the lips to help prep and keep the lips nice and hydrated and wrinkle-free. Okay, guys? Another quick tip that you can actually use this guy for is removing little mess-up wings or eyeliner looks, okay? All you do is take a little bit, maybe like a quarter of a pea-sized amount on a Q-tip, and clean up right against that wing liner for any dots or lines that you might have messed up on. One more thing you can actually do too is use that for lip liner as well, for perfected clean lip liner without having to restart and make that line way bigger. So let me know how this tip works for you guys. It's once again MAC Fast Response Eye Cream, and it's magical. Go ahead and write me in at Jeray for the Slay on any social media platforms, or comment right below to see more or talk about everything you've learned today. We'll see you guys next time.
We all know sleep is important, but it turns out it could be crucial for your kids' mental health. Let's connect the dots. A new study looked at 11,000 kids to see how sleep affected their brains. Researchers say they found kids who slept shorter periods saw changes in the areas of the brain linked to mental health. And we're not just talking about being cranky. These brain areas are linked to depression, anxiety, and impulsive behavior. The scientists behind the study say it's important for children to get the recommended amount of sleep, which for kids 6 to 12 is 9 to 12 hours a night. So what has these researchers losing sleep? The increasing demands of children's time between school, screen time, overscheduled activities. They seem to be getting even less sleep these days. And that is connecting the dots.
to Deal Blast. I'm Denise Plant, and we are kicking off today's deals with the gorgeous Laura Ashley Ladies Mesh Facet Dial Magnet Closure Watch. It's a round dial strap, and the watch is beautiful with stainless steel, plus moisture resistant analog display. Check it out. Normally as much as $395. Today, $25 with the savings up to 94% off. Next, Cortex International Blowout Bundle. It includes dryer, round barrel brush, 2 rollers, and a concentrator nozzle. Reduces drying time by 50%. It's great for all hair types, and it has salon quality technology, so it minimizes heat damage. Normally you would pay as much as $200, but today, $39 with the savings up to 81% off. It's the Paracone MD Advanced Firming Collection for face and eye. It includes depuffing eye gel, facial cream, and firming moisturizer. The perfect tool to revitalize skin during the summer, and of course, it protects against sun damage. It helps visibly lift that sagging skin. You would normally pay as much as $800, but today for Deal Blast, $59, a savings up to 93% off. Finally, the Vivitar Exfoliating Pore Cleanser. This is an absolute must. Includes 4 attachments: pore cleanser, skin softener, skin tightener, and fine line corrector. Plus, it has a powerful suction to really clean the pores. Normally, you would pay as much as $89, but today, only $19 with the savings up to 79% off. That's your Deal Blast. To buy these right now, go to morningsave.com and hit Daily Blast Live Deal Blast.
I'm sorry, magnetic watches? Cool.
And I need that blow dryer because mine broke. Yeah. So I'm using my brush and like.
How do you break a blow dryer?
It's very simple, Al. Ask every woman in this room.
Yeah.
No, I'm genuinely curious. How do you do that?
How do you break a blow dryer?
Well, my hair is pretty thick. You ever seen it when it's coming straight out of afro form, and I blow it down to make it this straight. So it takes a lot, and the comb broke. If you must know, Brandon. Now that you're I'm comb through your hair. Have the same issue.
We'll see you same time, same place
Lindsay
tomorrow.
is fired up today.
Yeah,
I
real
love
fired up,
it.
Lindsay. I love it.
Watch out, Brandon.
Bye, guys.